errant doomsayers to keep the keep the sage busy. Apparently, Osawa had a terrific play in the quarterfinals.
Yeah?
There's a conflagrate in Harold's graveyard.
Okay.
And rather than holding land, Harold plays his 8th land.
Okay.
And Craig Jones, who was watching the match, said, there was a Phyrexian totem in play for Osawa, and he's like, I would just obviously have been right in there with the totem.
Uh-huh.
And Osawa's like, well, why is he playing this land when he should be holding stuff for the conflagrate?
Yep.
He must have something.
Wow.
Hasn't seen the list yet, doesn't necessarily know what it is.
Yeah.
And he just attacks with the Corpulent Corpse, which gets ambushed by the Hellkite, which we heard later. But it was a nice tight read by Osawa, according to Craig Jones. Craig Jones
Wow.
he's like, I would have gotten destroyed there.
That Hellkite would have been hitting a negator.
Yeah. He would have just shot the negator 5 times, blocked the Corpulent Corpse, and Osawa would have had to go down 5 permanents. Or more, actually. He can shoot the...
Well, he might use the negator to itself if it's in risk of getting blocked.
So, but yeah, it was a exciting...
Yeah, it's a nice read.
Nice read. He was very impressed, Craig said. A couple of Corpulent Corpses suspended now. The negator we mentioned earlier. Phyrexian Totem.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone just calls it Negator Totem.
Sure.
Comes the Sinew Sliver.
Usawa content to trade a morph for it.
Is that Trickster? He's got a couple Coral Tricksters for morphs. Slipstream Serpent. Aquamorph Entity. The zombie apocalypse is coming. I don't know if there's very much that Kurihara can do about fear. He does not have... He has a snapback. He has a temporal isolation. So, and he has a main deck Gazer Justice.
Okay.
Interesting.
That's his way to kill a Corpulent Corpse?
I guess so. So he's got 2 or 3 answers. One of them is just a temporary answer in the snapback. Is that a Castle Raptors in the graveyard there?
Yep.
Okay. Which was Cradle to Graved.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a pair of Tysus suspended?
It is indeed 2 different copies of Tysus. Counting down.
That seemed a little aggressive to you? But I guess it puts Kurihara in a position where he can't really play creatures.
Seems alright.
He's got an Ication Crier.
Yeah, I mean, Kurihara seems like he's in a position where he can't afford to play creatures and he can't afford not to play creatures.
Absolutely.
It's a pretty good setup for Usawa.
He realizes that he's got pressure coming on both sides and he's squeezing Kurihara into a no-win situation. Yeah, a lot of times you see a Tysus, the play suspended. You try to kill your guys, you try to play guys out, but if you're under pressure, you don't have that option. And he's content to just send in the Corpulent Corpse. He's got another one coming behind that shortly.
15 apiece at this stage.
Flashes out a Claw Transmuter at the end of the turn.
Usawa seems to have this game in great shape.
Yeah.
What can Kurihara do? How does he stabilize?
He Shaper Parasites the Flyer.
Okay. Tice's tick,
Tick, tick, tick, tick. It's like, Kurahara's got to feel like Jack Bauer here. He's thinking about sending in the Viscera Deepwalker, but
nope. Decides for the Fear guy.
I mean, he doesn't want Kurahara to be able to get rid of his own guys. There's an Ephemeron suspended.
Yeah.
Things will certainly get interesting over the next 4 turns.
Kurahara uses Occasion Crier to make a couple of guys.
So Osawa's got plays on the next 4 turns. He's got a Corpulent Corpse coming in this turn, 1 Tysus in 2 turns, another Tysus after that, and then an Ephemeron.
And Kurahara just scoops him up. I think that was the right play. Takuya Osawa is now 1 game away from returning to the Pro Tour Finals.
Second trip to the finals.
Kurahara takes a quick thumb through his sideboard.
Osawa's looking at Imp's Mischief, maybe?
Wow, that Osawa's draw there just seemed... Like, what is Kurahara supposed to do?
I mean, he really just... He didn't have a lot... I mean, this seems like a terrible matchup for him, actually. Now that I'm looking at the 2 deck lists.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Why is that?
The Corpulent Corpses are just fantastic against him, and he has just a small number of answers for them. He's got 1 Snapback, 1 Gaze of Justice, and 1 Temporal Isolation. And that's just a small part of what he's got to deal with. He has Errant Ephemerons that just come into play on turn 6.
Yeah.
He's got, the Tysuses to worry about. It's a pretty unfavorable matchup for him, and he just doesn't have a lot of answers, and his questions just aren't really pressing enough. He needs to come out on the sliver draw. Although the white main lands are a pretty nice answer for the Tysus.
They can be.
Temporal Eddy. I mean, even Mana Screw is not really an out. I guess Osawa doesn't need more than 2 mana to play most of the good cards in his deck. If he gets a swamp and an island, he's all set.
2 mana and a couple and some turns. That's all he needs.
Yeah.
You can tell these guys know each other. You can tell they're comfortable playing with each other. They're already off to game 4. Right? How quick have you seen shuffling in the top 8 that ever lasted less than that?
No. No, these guys are and moving on. There's a Looter.
Corpulent Corpse got suspended on turn 1 for Usawa. No suspend on turn 2. Kurahara's got a Looter going. It's a decent start for him.
Poor Looter. Looter's really fallen out of favor in the blue pick order.
I know that that's true, and I still don't understand it.
Well, you take Ephemeron over it for sure.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right.
If you're not blue-black,
It's obviously, the Looter's obviously at its best in a Madness deck.
Right. If you're not blue-black, you obviously take Seer over it.
That's the one that I'm still having trouble with. I recognize that lots of good players have concluded Fathom Seer is better. I guess it must be. But it still feels a little weird to me.
There's a Seekers. He's got a couple of... Oh, Cradle to Grave. It's a card, I saw going 14th or 15th sometimes this weekend, but...
Yeah, I mean, it's Remove Soul, right?
Yeah.
It's good. It's not spectacular. It's actually worse than Remove Soul because...
Right, my Fathom Seer, you don't count on my Fathom
triggers.
Seer, and before I get a chance to unmorph it and put some cards in my hand, if I have a Draining Well, it could still counter something.
Right.